Is it in the? Is it? No, I think it is.
Ballaghaderreen team managers are Andy Moran and Michael Solon, with team selectors Barry Maguire and Patrick Sharkey, backroom team Pat Fleming. Westport team also lines out as per programme. Giver Hayes, Paddy O'Malley. Giver Goal, Stephen Dever. Giver 3, Niall McManaman. Giver Cahir, Brian McDermott. Giver 2, Nick Deegan. Giver Save, Rory Crittenden. Giver Shot, Paul Lambert.
This butter is only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.
So a very good afternoon to you, and you're welcome to St Patrick's Park in Westport. It's the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship Round 1 as Westport and Ballaghaderreen enter the arena on a lovely sunny Sunday afternoon here in West Mayo. Everything looking picture perfect as it very always does in this part of the world, ahead of the meeting of two teams who have big ambitions of making it through to the playoff stages at the very least of this year's senior championship, and ultimately having a big say in the destination of the Mo Clare Cup. So we'll take a quick check on the teams then, starting with Westport, the home side, and their joint managers Martin Calvey and Martin Connolly have made a couple of changes to their team that drew here with Brafey last weekend, and no surprise to tell you what the headline news is in terms of the team selection. Lee Keegan, the former footballer of the year, the Westport captain, he's back in the first 15 this afternoon. He'll wear number 5, and also into the starting team comes Mark Moran, another member of the Mayo senior squad this season. And the other names to keep an eye on: Rory Brickington, number 6, and Fionn McDonough, number 8, also members of the Mayo senior squad this season. On the bench for Westport, the familiar names that you'll recognise at first glance: Ben Doyle, a member of the Mayo panel this season, and Colin Moran and Oisin McLaughlin have also worn the green and red of Mayo in recent times. Owen McLaughlin, he's in the programme at 36, wearing number 36, but Owen McLaughlin not tagged, still ruled out with that double fracture to his jaw. Looking at the Ballaghaderreen team then, they're also under joint managers this year. Andy Moran and Mike Solon are in charge in Balla. Andy Moran picks himself, no surprise, the another former footballer of the year. Andy wears number 14. He will lead the Ballaghaderreen attack, while it's a very strong looking midfield diamond: Seamus Caniff at 6, Cuba Callahan at 11, and Shiroz Akram partnering Captain Ryan Lynch in the middle of the field. But a few names conspicuous by their absence through injury: David Drake ruled out with an ankle injury, David McBrien also out injured, while Cian Hanley and Keith Rogers also currently on the treatment table. So 4 big names there not starting for Balla. And looking at their bench, great to see the club stalwart Stephen Drake, former county championship winning captain, still going strong. He wears number 25. Derek Doohan also has some experience at this level, and Sean McHugh is another player who's come in off the bench many times to try and impact and influence championship matches down through the seasons. That's the Ballaghaderreen squad. They have named 34 players in the programme, Westport naming 39 as our officials. Our referee Jerome Henry from Castlebar and his linesmen prepare to call a moment's silence.
Paddy was a cornerstone of both Westport and Mayo GA over many years, occupying many roles and positions at both club and county. Westport GA cannot emphasise the debt of gratitude to Paddy and the Muldoon family for all that he has done for the club over the years. Today we observe a minute's silence in his honour, and we also remember 1951 All-Ireland winner Paddy Prendergast. Ar Yeshe Greva Hanamcha Gilish. Jackie Lishakorja, Lahai Auron Nabil.
Well, fitting and poignant that two great servants of Mayo GA remembered in advance of today's game. The late Paddy Muldoon, who gave so much to Westport and indeed Mayo GA throughout his life, and Paddy Pendergast, one of the iconic Mayo footballers of any generation and the last remaining member of the last Mayo team to win an All-Ireland back in 1951. Paddy Pendergast passing away last night in County Kerry. So our referee Jerome Henry then gets us underway. As you may have noticed in the background, the flags are blowing very strongly indeed down towards the goal away to our right. Ballaghaderreen will have the strong wind behind them in the first half. Westport hot favourites to win this game and get off to a winning start in Group 3 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. They come in today on the back of a hard-fought point, a draw here against Brafey in the league last weekend. That was Brian McDermott on the first raid through, but his pocket picked by Seamus Caniff, and Gavin Conway will clear his lines. Ball picked up by Andrew Dillon, one of the new names and new faces in the Ballaghaderreen team this season, looking to play it through to Thomas Carmody, intercepted by Brickenden, and here's Lee Keegan, Mayo's outstanding performer in the All-Ireland final just 2 weeks ago, back in the Westport team again this afternoon. Keelan Dever to the wing-back Paul Lambert. He and his brother Pat both start. Fionn McDonough, lovely ball to Dever, who continued the run. Alan Kennedy, and there's the opening score. Alan Kennedy, after 70 seconds or thereabouts, coming right through to finish a sweeping Westport move and the home side lead.
Yeah, and indeed it initiated from a lovely interception by Lee Keegan. Lee's playing kind of at centre half back. Rory Brickington seems to be more on the wing. That was a beautiful bit of interplay and a good finish by Alan Kennedy.
Martin Carney alongside me in the commentary position again this afternoon. Lovely place to watch a game of football here at St Patrick's Park. We're right up close to the action, and right now we're watching Westport's defence click into gear. Brian McDermott scored a terrific goal here against Brafey last weekend to Mark Moran, the flamboyant Westport centre half forward, recovered from injury and back in the starting team again. He's the man that pulls the strings. Luke Tunney, one of a handful of Westport starters who played in the Hogan Cup final 3 years ago with Rice College. Shane Scott, well, he was overage at that stage, shall we say. His Rice College days long behind him, but Shane Scott has kicked a terrific point off that trusty left boot. He is a very underrated club footballer, Shane Scott, the big number 9, and Westport lead 2-0.
Yeah, what's noticeable actually about Westport so far, Brian McDermott has been involved in both their attacks, left cornerback nominally, but certainly in very much in an attacking mode so far.
Kick out from Gavin Conway out to the left wing. That's Cormac Doohan. Lovely ball to Shiroz Akram, the former All-Ireland Under-21 winner with Mayo, to Andy Moran, the trademark sidestep. Andy shoots high and over the bar. Well, Andy had flagged that score himself long before the umpire reached for the white flag, I can tell you. As soon as he kicked it, the little fist pump, he knew it was good, and Ballaghaderreen's account is open after 3 minutes. And no surprise to tell you, it's their player manager, Andy Moran, that's kicked their opening score.
Yeah, he kicked it over to score, but I don't think the two umpires were too convinced about it. But Andy soon put them in their place.
Westport come again. Lovely team to watch. They play such an exciting brand of football. That was Killian Kilkelly picking out the target man, Kevin Kane. Claims the offensive mark, takes it, drops it into Mark Moran. They're hunting a goal. Here's a chance for Lambert. Down he goes. Jerome Henry waves away any half-hearted pleas from Westport for a penalty. In any event, Ballaghaderreen have managed to scramble it clear.
Shades of the All-Ireland football final there. The goal we missed, Mayo missed early in the match. That was a definite goaling opportunity spurned.
Speak of the All-Ireland final, Lee Keegan in the thick of things again here right in front of us. So much at stake in this first round game. No surprise, perhaps a few nerves still biting at players on both teams. Ball and Castlebar Mitchells in this very competitive group as well. Castlebar Mitchells beating Ball last night to leave themselves sitting pretty at the top of the table ahead of this game this afternoon. Well, right in front of us, as our very eagle-eyed cameraman has picked up, Cormac Doohan getting to know Lee Keegan.
Yeah, pulling and dragging him, provoking him, not allowing him to go up the field. I think there'll be, shall we say, a meeting of more than minds there in a couple of moments.
Well, it's a long list of opposition forwards who have tried to curb Lee Keegan over the years. Diarmuid Connolly, Sean Kavanagh spring to mind, but usually it's Lee who ends up doing the curbing
I think so.
as the day goes on. So a free to Westport then. Alan Kennedy to kick it. It's a very tricky angle. He's got a big right boot on him, but after a lingering look, the umpire flags that as a wide ball. It remains 2 points to 1. We've played 5 minutes, and Doohan and Keegan are still at it, and I think
the referee needs to actually kind of step in here, because this is becoming a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, Jerome Henry has spotted it out of the corner of his eye. He's just given a look in the direction of the two players. Lee Keegan, I think, has tried to explain he's the innocent party, and that is some take by Shane Scott. He is playing really good football at the moment. He was one of the main reasons why Westport had such a good league campaign, and he's brought that form into today's game by the looks of things. Niall McManaman up the line to Paul Lambert, looking for Kane. Kevin Kane on the edge of the square, just runs beyond him. Kennedy, lovely layoff to Fionn McDonough, off the left, just doesn't come in. A second wide in a row for Westport, their second of the game, but they're already into their rhythm, Martin.
Very much so. I mean, they're getting a grip around the middle of the field. Shane Scott has been very impressive on the long kickouts. Lee Keegan is driving forward, and I think, okay, the main threat that Ballaghaderreen have is Andy Moran, and if Westport can actually curb his influence, then I think Westport should go on and win this.
Gavin Conway again goes long, and again Westport win possession. One Lambert to another, Pat to Paul. Ball popped in front of Kevin Kane, who's moved out to the wing just to open up some space for the likes of this man, Rory Brickenden, steaming through, shoots on sight, and he's drilled it high and wide. That looked a dead cert for a score.
Absolutely, but again, you just you're enjoying watching it's a performance race with great intelligence and great, shall we say, athleticism, driving forward in groups at the moment, and Westport, or Ballaghaderreen rather, are finding it very difficult to curb them.
Just thinking there, Martin, if Cormac Doohan and Lee Keegan keep this up, we might have to invest in a player cam, perhaps, for the rest of the game. We'll keep an eye on it for you, and if there's anything you need to know, we'll keep you posted. Kick out again from Gavin Conway. Once more finds a Westport man. They're putting themselves under all sorts of pressure with their own kickouts, Ballaghaderreen. But they've managed to intercept that through ball from Keegan. Now the hard part is to try and get out as Westport applied the press. Jerome Henry felt there was a foul. Ballaghaderreen will get the free. And it's worth reiterating again, Martin, I suppose, for anybody who may have joined us late, or just to underline the point, Ballaghaderreen today without David Drake, David McBrien, Cian Hanley and Keith Rogers. 4 automatic starters, and it leaves them very stretched.
Very, very stretched. I mean, they've a very inexperienced forward line, and again, any of those guys would grace any club team in the county, and too big a burden, I believe, really, for Ballaghaderreen.
That was a lovely build-up by Westport. It was Pat Lambert to Kevin Kane to Keegan, and you would have put your house on Lee Keegan to score from point-blank range. 4 wides for Westport, and that's a glaring one.
It is, yeah. And I mean, only 8 minutes gone, and I mean, a lot of good approach play has been blemished by very poor finishing, and they'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah, hard to explain a couple of those last Westport misses, but they're spending more and more time inside the Ballaghaderreen half, and more scores almost inevitable. Again, it's Pat Lambert to Mark Moran, and that's another wild effort.
It's careless, very, very careless. Like that time, I think it was Mark Moran got on the ball, and he just seemed to kind of, drive it off his left foot. There wasn't any great purpose to it. Remember last week when we were watching them, Mike, they were playing ball in quickly to Kevin Kane. They had a very definite plan against Brafey. It worked for them. And again, I'm surprised they haven't tried that today.
Ballaghaderreen coming into the Senior Championship after operating in Division 2A of the Senior League. Finished in 3rd place, just behind the top 2 teams, Louisburgh and Kilmaine. Louisburgh topping the group, 5 wins from 5 games. Ballaghaderreen, they won 3, drew 1 and lost 1 of their 5 league matches, so it was a solid league campaign, but they are outsiders coming to Westport today, and so far they're playing like it as well. Westport dominant all over the field except on the scoreboard. That's a misplaced pass, just too far ahead of Lee Keegan. Fionn McDonough jumping with Akram, and McDonough uses his experience first of all to knock it away from Akram, then to roll out of the tackle, and now Killian Kilkelly feeds it to Kevin Kane. Lovely ball, great take. That's what you were talking about.
That's what I was talking about. They did that repeatedly last weekend, and it worked to a T for them. And again, Kevin Kane, okay, known mainly as a full-back in his inter-county days, but a very effective full-forward for Westport.
Well, he really has transitioned from full-back to full-forward with consummate ease, Kevin Kane. He's such a good footballer, he could play anywhere. But that, by the way, was off his weaker right foot, and he made it look easy. Westport lead 3-1.
Yeah, and it's interesting actually, it was Killian Kilkelly set him up with that move. Actually, Killian Kilkelly last week played centre half forward. He was taken off during the course of the game. Today he's in the corner, very effective so far.
Certainly Aaron Lynch has got his hands full with Kevin Kane. He's picking up the Westport number 14, Owen Jordan. He's marking Alan Kennedy. And the third man, Killian Kilkelly, he's in there close to goal as well. Here's Lee Keegan raiding up from the half-back line again to Shane Scott. Two of the war horses in this Westport team combined. Here's Alan Kennedy, one of the more flair players, and he was fouled. The referee Jerome Henry was playing an advantage, none coming, so they'll bring it back again. But just when Ballaghaderreen thought they had all the angles covered, up comes the four-time All-Star Lee Keegan to join the fun.
Yeah, and thankfully the little bit of kind of shall be getting to know me or getting to know you moments between himself and I think it was Cormac Doohan have quietened down now, so to speak. But there's no doubt about it, Keegan when he gets forward is such a treat to watch.
He certainly is. I think Martin may have spoken a bit too soon, but let's see how that individual battle develops as Alan Kennedy steps up to the free, fires it over, 2 for him. It's 4 for Westport, and 4 points to 1 after 11 minutes tells us a little more about the true complexion of what we've seen.
Very much so. Like, I mean, they're enjoying kind of, shall we say, unhindered possession around the middle of the field. I mean, Shane Scott has been magnificent so far. In fact, that kick out, I think that Ballard after taking, that's the first one they have won.
Well taken by Ryan Lynch, the captain. Sets them on the attack. Thomas Carmody floating it in towards Handy Andy, but Rory Brickenden, he got up above everybody to knock it away from danger, knock it away from Moran, most importantly, as Bala tried to come again. Adam Phillips under pressure, close to the sideline, pushed over, free to Ballaghaderreen. Moran is the first man on the scene. He'll be 38 in November. He's dropped a few hints recently that this will be his last season playing at this level with Ballaghaderreen, but with Andy you just never know. He's still in great shape, he's still going strong, and right now he, like the rest of us, watching Luke Tunney as he tries to come out of the Westport half-back line. Fouled, taken by Fionn McDonough, and already just look how much movement there is ahead of the ball.
Yeah.
Paul Lambert just jinking and jiving on the spot. Keegan, Lambert again. That's a 50-50 ball, but Shane Scott makes it his. Just driven a little backwards by Luke O'Grady. Now Fionn McDonough, and Westport will try another route forward. Brian McDermott up from corner back, loves to get forward to Kennedy. His first avenue of attack is blocked. The runners come flying through the middle. That's Fionn McDonough. First point of the match for Fionn McDonough. It means both Westport midfielders have now scored, and it's 5 points to 1.
Yeah, it's too easy for Westport, to be honest about it. Kind of loads of men, as you said, Mike, in your commentary, ahead of the ball, looking to be brought into the game. And just their rhythm, their athleticism, the energy they're bringing to the game is vastly superior to what Ballaghaderreen have.
Just looking down towards the other end of the field, Niall McManaman is picking up Andy Moran. Westport not operating any sort of a sweeper. They're going man-to-man, and they've given young Niall McManaman the task of trying to curb the 2017 Footballer of the Year. A rare breakdown in a Westport attack, but just as quickly as it had happened, Westport have got the ball back again. Ballaghaderreen there just losing their way. Kennedy, just a little sidestep to buy himself some time. Loads of options, balloons it over towards the far side. Claimed by Pat Lambert. Whistle sounded to signify that he could have claimed a mark there, but he's decided to play on. Killian Kilkelly back as far as Paul Lambert. Again, he's waiting for the runner. It's Keegan. Possession robbed from Keegan by the other number 5, Luke O'Grady. Here he is again. O'Grady chips it on the run. Lovely skill from the Balla wing back inside to Carmody. Hand in the air to claim the mark. Sensible decision. Now Andy Moran was looking for it to be played quickly inside. Thomas Carmody has decided against it. Balla need a score. And from the mark, Thomas Carmody swings over their second point of the match. Badly needed, 5-2.
Yeah, when you think about it, Mike, there's 15 minutes gone, probably close to the first water break, 5-2. And even though Westport have been vastly superior team, you know, they'd be disappointed that at this stage of the game they have already shot 5 wides.
Ball delivered long. Fionn McDonough claims it brilliantly. Got up over Akram and Lynch, and because Shiroz Akram didn't retreat quickly enough, ball moved forward an extra 13 metres. Fionn McDonough in full flight though, a joy to behold.
Oh yeah, the two of them, like Fionn McDonough and Shane Scott, they're quite a formidable midfield partnership. Two left footers, but both of them beautiful distributors of a ball, excellent in the air, and again Alan Kennedy's been presented with another good opportunity.
Well, you could hear a pin drop as Alan Kennedy stepped up to that free. The respect the kicker very much in evidence here. 3 points for the Westport number 15, and it restores the home side's 4-point cushion. But I know we mentioned it in commentary last weekend, Martin, but for anybody who wasn't watching, as the referee Jerome Henry signals for the water break, Fionn McDonough, he's missed so much football. Everybody has missed seeing him play for Westport, play for Mayo. He is giving us glimpses again here, isn't he, in this first quarter of what we've all missed.
Oh, very much so. I thought last weekend I was a little bit disappointed with him in the game against Bravey. I felt he was slow to get into it. Maybe the lack of football maybe kind of militated against him playing well. But today he started very promisingly. He feels well, he distributes well. He's a very, very good decision maker. I think, you know, he knows when to give the ball long, when to play it short. But his work rate also is excellent in linking the two sections of the field. And with that pairing at the moment, Fionn McDonough and Shane Scott, their opposite numbers, Shiroz Akram and Ryan Lynch, really haven't had an answer to them at all.
Well, you can see Westport there in their huddle. Martin Calvey and Martin Connolly doing most of the talking. Kieran Geraghty, Tom Reynolds, Danny O'Toole and Joe Dawson also part of the Westport backroom team. But I would imagine things a lot calmer in that huddle, Martin, because it's Mike Solan and Andy Moran who would be that little bit more animated and perhaps worried at this stage.
They'd be disappointed. Apart from worried, they'd be disappointed with the lack of intensity and with the lack of effort. I mean, I watched them warming up here beforehand. They warmed up for a good, say, 3/4 of an hour, and it was very intense. But like since they've come onto the field today, they really haven't got to the rhythm of the game at all. There's none of the intensity we associate with a championship match. And we spoke about it before commentary, Mike, about the lack of atmosphere. We'd love to hear a little bit more, shall we say, crowd involvement. We got it today in Castlebar, an intermediate game. We got a little bit of it last night between Castlebar and Ball. I enjoyed that. But you were saying you were elsewhere and there wasn't a whole pile.
No, it's not often you go to Knockmore and complain about a lack of atmosphere. But maybe everybody just getting back into the swing of things, being back in, watching matches again, and also waiting maybe for something to shout about as Westport go on the attack. Pat Lampert, dangerous ball, batted away by Gavin Conway. He was taking no chances. First man to react is Killian Kilkelly. Such a lively corner forward. Plenty of men in the middle. Instead he goes short to Alan Kennedy on the burst and over the bar. 4 points for Kennedy. Well, they may be worried about the likes of Kevin Kane, Killian Kilkelly and Mark Moran, but ironically Alan Kennedy there was the man who found space and has just helped himself to his 4th point.
Yeah, and Killian Kilkelly again kind of picked up a lost cause that time. Very, very intelligently gave it to Kennedy. Kennedy's angle of running was excellent and the finish was equal.
Ball just spilled by Luke Tunney. Linesman on this near side, Declan O'Boyle from Arda, flags it correctly as a Balla ball. Keelan Dever and Thomas Carmody there joined at the hip. Well, Balla's joint manager Mike Solan here just in front of us, and the linesman Declan O'Boyle, they're on different pages. Declan O'Boyle giving that Westport's way. Mike Solan felt it was a Balla ball. Declan O'Boyle pulls rank and away go Westport. Kevin Kane, here's the runner. There always seems to be one. That time it was Pat Lambert, and Alan Kennedy just let it slip out of his grasp. That was a goal chance if the ball had stuck, no doubt about it. And Ballaghaderreen, well, they got off the hook. Aaron Lynch Long to Carmody, who once again is out in front, again calls the mark. This time goes quickly, looking for Andy. He was trying to steal in behind Niall McManaman. Picks up the break, shot half blocked. And out comes Paddy O'Malley to claim that ball. Gets there in front of a frustrated looking Cuba Callahan, who had, I think, he was determined to get a piece of the goalkeeper, but you could see what they were thinking.
Aye, very much so. And again, there's a clear tactic that Ballaghaderreen are trying to implement, and that is get the ball in a 1v1 between Andy and Niall McManaman. But Andy that time had his shot half blocked, and again, good goalkeeping from Paddy O'Malley. Claimed a difficult situation, and again managed to claim a free.
Sharp intake of breath from everybody in the ground there, including your commentator, as Lee Keegan powered onto that ball, and a Ballaghaderreen man came across, but luckily they missed each other by and large, and all's well that ends well. Ryan Lynch with the line ball down to Thomas Carmody, but it's very tight to the sideline, and Keelan Dever has used his power to knock Carmody out of the way. I think he may have collided or fell awkwardly there.
He fell awkwardly with one of the hoardings actually, and is just in front of the big notice, shall we say, for the raffle for a house down in Westport for fundraising.
That's
for
the one,
GA Club. That's the one. Danny McLaughlin came over to me beforehand and warned me, I'm not getting out here unless I mention it.
Job done.
Job done.
Check in the post. Game restarts. Yes, you can win a house in Westport. Check it out. You'll find it online, you'll find it on social media. What a beautiful part of the country it is and would be to live in. As Lee Keegan, a man who does live here in what was at one stage Ireland's most livable town. Now Shane Scott, the Ohagower man, to Fionn McDonough. Patient build-up play this time from Westport. Scott again, out to Luke Tunney. Balla unable to get a hand on the ball as Alan Kennedy feeds McDonough once more. Just got his shot away before the arrival of Cormac Doohan. Ballaghaderreen have brought 13 men back inside their own 45 and still powerless to prevent Westport throwing this ball around and advancing slowly and surely towards the Balla goal. Mark Moran. Well, when you're 5 points up and you've got so many natural ball players, Martin, this is meat and drink to Westport.
It's just a dawdle for them at the moment. Ballaghaderreen are not putting any pressure on them. Ballaghaderreen are kind of pulling everybody back behind the ball and really is playing into Westport hand in many ways. And Westport will just try and kind of create situations like that where they learn freeze and basically kind of, just notch their points. Like at the moment, what is it? They're 5 points up. Again, they're totally in control, and just has been a little bit disappointing response from Ballaghaderreen.
Well, Shiroz Akram there, I think it was pure frustration that resulted in that free being given. Just, he'd seen enough, as Martin said. They couldn't get a hand on the ball. Shiroz Akram decided to take some action, and the free is awarded Westport's way. Alan Kennedy is who's standing over it. Now there's a stoppage here as one of the Ballaghaderreen players is receiving attention. Chance for us maybe to take stock, or perhaps not. Jerome Henry has decided the game will continue as the Balla man, I think it's Ryan Lynch actually, who's getting treatment. Alan Kennedy's free, taken by Owen Jordan. He's a great servant of the Balla club, Owen Jordan. He can play in a whole variety of defensive positions, filling in at full back this afternoon due to the injuries to the likes of Keith Rogers, David McBrien and David Drake. Seamus Caniff, we haven't seen an awful lot of Seamus in this game so far. Got on the ball there, and now Akram.
Yeah, but Westport have a lovely blend of work rate and style, but they're just not making a count on the scoreboard. Like, I mean, after 22 minutes, only been 5 points up, it's not a reflection whatsoever on the way the game has gone.
Late challenge there on Shiroz Akram. Free from where the ball landed, and it landed right there where Thomas Carmody was sizing up the goal. He's heard a call from Cuba Callahan, and Cuba Callahan is going to instead have a cut at this free. Steals a few yards with his run up, and that's a high, aimless shot at goal. It's Ballaghaderreen's first wide, and it comes in the 24th minute, and that, I suppose, tells its own story when you
yeah.
consider they've only got 2 points on the board.
Only got 2 points on the board, but they need to take opportunities like that. Like, that was well within his range, but again, he forced it, and again, a bad outcome.
Another long, booming kick out from Paddy O'Malley. It has Ballaghaderreen in some bother, and it has Westport on the attack. Kilkelly to Tunney, and Luke Tunney swings it up and over the bar. Well, it was a bit like watching Tyrone in the All-Ireland final. Westport went route one, caught out a couple of Ballaghaderreen defenders, and all of a sudden Luke Tunney was in on goal.
Yeah, but it was such a subtle pass from Kilkelly that time. Again, the way he just reversed the angle of the pass, Tunney picked it up and again hooked it over with the left foot. But I've been impressed with Kilkelly when he gets the ball in the corner. Very, very clever player, good vision and good imagination. Lovely to see.
That point from Luke Tunney means that now 5 different Westport players have scored. Mark claimed there by Patrick Callaghan, who just fell heavily. He's one of the new young players who's broken into the Bala senior team this season. Wearing 13, but as you can see, drifting deeper now to try and help Bala get their hands on more ball. Just 2 points to show for their efforts, just 1 wide. They've really found it hard to make inroads. Thomas Carmody, one of their better forwards. Back to Luke O'Grady. Luke O'Grady steams through, fires it in, and it's come back off the timber and back into play. And Bala, again, cursing their luck, but a chance perhaps to engineer another scoring opportunity. Akram just dwelt too long on it, blocked down by Shane Scott. Killian Kilkelly is there with Luke O'Grady. Patrick Callaghan, that's better from Bala, showing that hunger and intensity their supporters are looking for, that they're looking for. Quick hands from Ryan Lynch to Akram. Cuba Callaghan spins and shoots, and that's well wide. A second Ballaghaderreen wide, and again you'd feel it was rushed and it was a poor effort.
It was rushed, but again, the work rate of the Westport team has impressed me. Kilkelly was up in a defensive situation that time, as was Mark Moran, and again a very good block back in their full back line just prior to that wide coming. But just overall, by far the superior team on the basis of the first 25 minutes or so Westport have been.
Well, a good crowd here at St. Patrick's Park. Capacity capped at 500 people for all club games this weekend. A good crowd as well up on the hill down behind the Westport goal away to our right. They are watching free of charge, of course. And so far they're watching Westport dictate the terms and the conditions. 6 points in front. They've just won a free. And Luke Tunney, the number 10, has really impressed me in this first half, Martin.
Very much, but every one of the Westport attackers has impressed me. Kilkelly has been good, Kane has been good, Kennedy's been good. Mark Moran, funnily enough, the man I look for most, for a lot today. He hasn't really been in the game to the extent I would like to have seen. Last week I thought when he played against Brady, he was very, very good, but he's been quiet. He's in the full forward line though. Maybe he's just often the position he plays best from.
He's being marked by Seamus Kniff as well. Kniff taking his man marking duties very seriously as always, and maybe that's part of the reason we haven't seen him get on as much ball as he would like. He's primarily occupied with curbing Moran as Shane Scott goes in hard on Adam Phillips there. Jerome Henry happy enough to tick the Westport midfielder. Bala get the free. Cormac Doohan and Keegan in a race for possession. Keegan just was a little over eager. Doohan feeds Aaron Lynch, and Lynch goes all the way across to Seamus Kniff, trying to creep forward and get Bala moving in the right direction. Akram, Shiroz Akram, finds a little pocket of space on this right hand side. Mark Moran is herring after him. Andy Moran out in front of Niall McManaman. McManaman not long out of under 21. Andy heading towards over 40 territory, so it's a real master and an apprentice job there on the edge of the square as heavy challenge comes in on Ryan Lynch. Ballaghaderreen get the free. And the wily old fox himself, Andy Moran, played a crucial role there, Martin.
Very much so. Again, you have to compliment Westport. I mean, and the huge intensity they're applying all over the pitch. Again, everybody back in that last Ballaghaderreen, every Westport player back during that last Ballaghaderreen attack. The only guy I think that's up front for Westport at the moment is Alan Kennedy. But this is a big kick for Westport, or for Ballaghaderreen rather. They need to bring it back. They can do with a point now. 2 points is just all they have to show for the half. That's a poor return.
Well, both of Ballaghaderreen's wides so far have come from the boot of their number 11, Cuba Callahan, as referee Jerome Henry there has he's had a word with Niall McManaman. I think it may be an issue that he hasn't got a gum shield in. Not quite sure. He's made his way to the sideline. Cuba Callahan goes short with the free, and it's gone horribly wrong. And that's now 3 wides for Cuba Callahan, and hard to figure out why he didn't kick it over the bar in the first place.
Well, I don't know. He had a runner on the right-hand side. I think Patrick Callahan actually came on the right-hand side to give him support. But again, it was well within his range. He should have had a go, but the previous kick that he had, he drove it badly wide, and maybe just his confidence has dropped.
So that's 3 wides for Cuba Callahan and 3 wides for Ballaghaderreen, and they're still 6 behind as we edge closer and closer to the half-time break. Another big kick out from Paddy O'Malley and another big hit. This time it's Pat Lambert on Aaron Lynch, and Pat Lambert is going to be spoken to, and he's going to be booked as well. But Paddy O'Malley's long kickouts are a big part of the game plan, and they're causing problems.
Well, they certainly worked well earlier on, but I think that a lot of the kind of that coordinated play, that very, very good interplay that Westport have shown early in the game, that has kind of deserted them now in the last 10 minutes or so. They're way, way more disjointed. I thought they started very impressively, but they're just finding it difficult to get it back to kind of maintain the rhythm that they actually started out with, and not as impressive. Maybe going too defensive, Mike.
We haven't had a score now in the match for about 7 minutes or so, as Gavin Conway comes out to play fly keeper for Ballaghaderreen, lamps it in towards the full forward line, but Andy Moran was in behind Niall McManaman. He's a very, very neat and tidy fullback, Niall McManaman. He caught the eye at underage level with Westport, and he has stepped up to senior level with aplomb, and he's doing a fine job on Andy Moran. He's held him to just 1 point so far. Speaking of good footballers, that was a lovely piece of play by Rory Brickenden. The sidestep opened up the space. He powers forward. Fionn McDonough trying to make an angle to get onto that favoured left foot. Luke Tunney again has found space. He has options. He picks out Alan Kennedy. Now Mark Moran. Pat Lambert, quick look up. 2 men over on that right-hand side. One of them Keegan, the other McDonough. Both get their hands on the ball. Fionn McDonough with a hop, a jump and a kick. And Fionn McDonough swings over his 2nd point of this first round game at St. Patrick's Park. 9-2.
9-2, and again, very much in control. But that's the first time we've seen that good interplay. As you said, Mike, there had been a period there, 7 or 8 minutes where there wasn't any scores. But that was a good finish from McDonough, but good combined play leading up to it.
Well, as you'll have noticed there a moment ago in your picture, Cormac Doohan, the Ballaghaderreen number 12, here he is, has had to get a new jersey. He's now wearing 25. I can only assume Arking Lee Keegan had something to do with it.
Well, I think the way they were going on early on, there was only going to be one outcome.
All fun and games. Ballaghaderreen and Andy Moran trying to make some headway. Andy Moran gets the shot off. He was under pressure, smacks off the post and drops away to the left and wide. That's now 4 wides for Ballaghaderreen. It's a first from Andy Moran. He's getting nothing easy from Niall McManaman.
No, very impressed with Niall McManaman actually. Kind of direct him. O'Gear kind of full back. Alongside him, Brian McDermott, in particular early on, kind of attacked quite a bit for Westport. But overall, Westport have been far the better team over the first half.
Well, there goes the half-time whistle. It's a pretty anticlimactic end to this first half. Just some of the main highlights to tell you about. Alan Kennedy, 4 points in the opening half for Westport, 2 from play, 2 from frees. Shane Scott and Fionn McDonough have hit 3 points between them, the 2 Westport midfielders, and Lee Keegan raiding up from the half-back line back to his best again. As on the Ballaghaderreen side, you have Andy Moran with a point from play, and also Tom Carmody with a mark and a score as well. But no doubt about it, Westport on top here at the half-time break. So it's half-time in the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship here in Westport, and the home side lead by 9 points to 2. We'll be back very shortly with a little bit of analysis ahead of the start of the second half.
This butter's only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half fat butter. Make it real.
This butter is only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.
And you're very welcome back to St. Patrick's Park in Westport. Half-time still in full swing here, as it were. Westport still in their huddle, now making their way back out onto the field. Likewise, Ballaghaderreen. That might just give us a chance, Martin Carney, to talk briefly about one or two of the other games that we've seen in the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship this weekend. I know you were a very interested spectator last night at the other game in this group, Castlebar Mitchells against Ball. What should we know?
Well, first of all, it was the most beautiful occasion. A beautiful evening, Mike. Again, a fabulous crowd at it. Really kind of an expectant crowd, hoping that Ball would get stuck into it. But Castlebar were by far the better side. I thought the guys who impressed me for Castlebar, I thought Johnny Mohan had a superb game as centre half back. Danny Kirby was excellent at left half forward. And again, all over the field, I thought Donald Vaughan had very steadying influence. And just they got goals at the right time after some very enterprising movements. And on top of that, like when I kind of say to you that Castlebar missed a penalty and they had a goal disallowed, it just gives you an idea of the kind of the superiority they enjoyed. They were the better team. Ball have been out of, I suppose, senior football for quite a while now, and I mean it showed last night. Castlebar's greater experience, I thought, told. And late in the game when they took on the likes of Barry Moore, he steadied up things, fed some nice ball inside, and again from there Castlebar got their late scores. But Castlebar did quite well, but still Mike, have a lot of work to do, and it'll be fascinating to see their tussle with Westport next weekend. Is it the final game?
No, that's right. Next weekend, round 2. The game's coming thick and fast in the initial group stages of this club championship campaign. So next Saturday at 4 o'clock, both round 2 games in Group 3 go ahead. Ballaghaderreen, they're at home to Ball, last year's county intermediate champions. And as Martin said, Castlebar Mitchells, they will welcome Westport, who will make the short journey over the road for what will be one of the matches of the weekend, you'd have to imagine, in the Connacht Gold Championship.
Yeah, well, again, whoever wins next weekend probably goes through to the last 8. Actually, you know, big game. But every game in these group stages is a big game. Like.
So Jerome Henry, our referee, gets the second half underway. I see Ballaghaderreen have brought in number 18, Dara Kelly, into their forward line. Perhaps he can help to get them firing as Andy Moran and Niall McManaman go chasing after the first ball that's coming their direction. And McManaman again is making life difficult for Andy Moran, who has to dig deep into his box of tricks to make an angle for himself. Plays this across the face of goal. It's gathered by Dara Kelly. First man up in support is Luke O'Grady. Beat the first defender, not the second. Good pressure applied by Westport. This is Ryan Lynch, the Ballaghaderreen captain, and that is point number 3 for the visitors to St. Patrick's Park. Well, they had to work hard to create the opening, and Ryan Lynch joins Andy Moran and Thomas Carmody as Balla's only scorers so far.
Yeah, but they need that score, and they need quite a few of them actually to get back into this game, because they've been playing second fiddle to Westport up to now. Had to work very hard for that, but it was a good finish actually from Ryan Lynch.
Well, a comedy of errors there almost on Westport's behalf. Paddy O'Malley stubbing his toe with the kick out, and then Keelan Dever making heavy work of getting the ball under control, but it all pans out, and Lee Keegan takes the free, and Luke Tunney moves it down the line as far as Paul Lambert. Seamus Kniff comes across to try and engage him, but Lambert has the pace to go by him. Good recovery though by both Kniff and Donald Forrest, the cornerback. He ultimately stole the ball back, and now Gavin Conway will feed Kniff as Ballaghaderreen try to work this ball out of their own full back line. Living just ever so dangerously here as Shiroz Akram manages to angle himself in front of the Westport man. Now Luke O'Grady, 50-50 ball again. Cuba O'Callaghan gets there just in front of Brickenden. Yeah, free to Balla.
That's a good tussle actually between the two of them. Brickenden has come out so far on top, but you can see that Cuba O'Callaghan has a lot of potential actually if he gets more supply.
Niall McManaman with a big win there, a big steal to get that ball in front of Andy Moran. Pat Lambert just left the ball behind. Another good piece of play by Balla. Another ball turned over. And while they are 6 points in front, not finding it as easy to find an avenue through to the Bala goal now. Life getting a little harder for the Westport forwards.
Very much so, and there's a lot of carelessness on the part of both teams, a lot of ball being given away, a lot of turnover and that kind of thing, and misplaced passes. Just that smoothness that we had early on is absent.
Killian Kilkelly looking for Kevin Kane. Bala getting touch tight now in their full back line. Aaron Lynch it was who came through there. He got a little piece of Kevin Kane, he got a bit of the ball as well, and it's gone out for a 45 to Westport. Rory Brickenden had come charging down the middle there if Killian Kilkelly had picked him out. Instead they went for Kevin Kane, and they'll get a 45, so a chance perhaps for Paddy O'Malley, who's coming up from the goal, to put another score on the board. Yeah, well, again, I thought early on in the game when Brian McDermott, Rory Brickenden, Lee Keegan and Paul Lambert were attacking, Westport were at their best, but they became more conservative as the half went on, and I think if they could revert back to that style of football, it would suit them better, and I think they would be able to get more scores. So Paddy O'Malley, member of the Roscommon senior football squad these last couple of seasons, played minor and under 20 football with Mayo, strikes this 45. He's got a big sledgehammer of a left boot on him, but it's gone away to the right. 6 wides for Westport. Another one goes a begging, another chance, and it's still a precarious 6-point lead, shall we say. Yeah, you think if Ballaghaderreen could get forward and get a goal, it would make a very interesting end to the game. But overall, like in all sectors of the field, like Westport are on top. Okay, Ballaghaderreen won the break from that one, but they need to get ball forward. They need to get Andy more and more into the game, and they need to get a little bit more support from their half-forward line. Well, this will be a real worry for Ballaghaderreen. That's Ryan Lynch, their captain, who's down injured. It was a very clever piece of play by Dara Kelly to knock the kick out down to Ryan Lynch, but he just picked up a heavy knock as he went for that ball. And with Cian Hanley, Keith Rogers, David Drake and David McBride already out of action injured, this is the last thing they'll want to see. Yeah, when you think about it, he carried the fight to Westport in the first half, or first minute or two of the half. He was the one that got their only score in the second half. So it's important that from his leadership point of view and from his scoring point of view, that he isn't lost to them. Well, the good news is he's good to go again, Ryan Lynch. Ballaghaderreen, of course, went to the quarter-finals last season, well beaten on the night by Brafey, who then went on to knock Westport out in the semi-final a week later. So both of these teams will feel they have more in them. There is more scope for improvement, but they have to go and do it now. And a win in this first-round game would be a big step in the right direction in terms of getting back into the playoffs again. Yeah, that's where Ball and Mitchells will have ideas as well. Yeah, that was very good defending by Seamus Caniff. He's had a very good tussle with Mark Moran and has actually kind of come out on top with Mark Moran. I was expecting a lot from Mark today, but of all of the forwards, he's the one that has been least involved, actually, which is a surprise in many respects. And I think a lot of it is down to the quality of the marking that he's been subjected to by Seamus Caniff. Another stoppage, and Seamus Caniff, as Martin said, is the player who's been in the wars, handshakes all round. Ben Doyle, by the way, is getting ready to come in any moment now for Westport. He's got the tracksuit off and he'll be coming into the Westport full back line, I'd imagine, as Gavin Conway comes out to get a touch of the ball, tries to spray it out to Ryan Lynch. There's a heavy collision there and there's a Westport man gone down injured. I think it may be Mark Moran. Mark Moran, yeah. Again, it was a ball that everybody had eyes for and nobody pulled back or pulled out, and Mark Moran has come off the worse for wear. But the 3 stoppages early in this second half just breaking up any sort of momentum that either team might have hoped to get going. That's right. You expected a little bit more, in the opening part of the second half. Certainly I expected a little bit more by way of effort from Ballaghaderreen. It hasn't been forthcoming, but Westport have got somewhat disjointed, a lot of misplaced passes, I've said many times, and again that time just no communication and a collision as a consequence. Well, Westport have made that change. I flagged a moment ago. Ben Doyle is on, and it's Paul Lambert who's been replaced as Ballaghaderreen win possession tight to the corner. It's Thomas Carmody again, trying everything he knows to get on the ball and make something happen, but I think he may have been too close to the sideline there, forced out over the line with the ball. Keegan back as far as Paddy O'Malley, and Keegan takes the return pass and in his own time flicks it out to Fionn McDonough. Forward to Brian McDermott. ran straight into two Ballaghaderreen men who were waiting for him, Shiroz Akram and Patrick Callahan. Another big turnover.
Big turnover, but poor decision making that time again from Westport. There was a huge amount of space out here, but again, no use made of it.
One-dimensional is the word that springs to mind, Martin. They're watching that last Balla attack breakdown.
One-dimensional,
it's the diagonal ball to Andy,
and lacklustre. We'll bring that into it too, Mike.
Yeah, they're certainly missing that spark you'd associate with Ballaghaderreen teams, particularly when they go forward. They've developed a reputation over the years for their forward play, for running up big scores, in fact, but just 3 points to show for their efforts so far. It's really a poor day's work so far, but you just never know. Andy Moran just needs that one chance.
He needs that one chance, but again, he needs a little bit more support from the guys around him. Cooper Callahan has caught quite a frustrated figure, actually, for much of the game, and I think the couple of frees that he missed in the first half hasn't helped his confidence.
Ben Doyle, Ballaghaderreen appealing that he picked that ball off the ground. No free given. Here he comes, creeping in along the end line. Alan Kennedy telegraphed the pass, though Mark Moran was waiting for it to come. It intercepted by, I think it was Seamus Kniff. This is Cormac Doohan, who's running into some heavy traffic, just throws a boot at it up into the air, drops right on top of Pat Lambert to Kennedy. He's got room to swing that left boot, and he shoots high and wild. That is 6 wides for Westport, and that is another one that really should have hit the target.
Yeah, and you just go back to the previous attack, actually, where Killian Kilkelly sent a lovely little dink ball through to Ben Doyle. More should have been made of that, but again, it's a symptom of the lack of confidence that Westport have at the moment, that they're not taking responsibility for scores when they're available.
We've had just 1 point so far in this second half. That came from the boot of Ryan Lynch in the opening seconds. Westport's, well, their scores have really dried up. Ballaghaderreen not much better, as Shiroz Akram again runs into trouble. And we've seen this so many times, Martin, in this third quarter, where the player on the ball just turns, for all the world, the wrong way and gets swallowed up.
Yeah, like we've had 10 minutes to the opening, to the second half, and just after a half minute we had a score, I think, by Ryan Lynch. Nothing has happened since, and again there's been an awful lot of untidy play, poor passes, and again just none of the rhythm that we saw in the opening 4 or 5 minutes of the game. I love the way Westport started out this game today, but Martin Connolly I see on the far side of the field, and Martin Calvey, certainly they'll have a lot of talking to do to the players before the game next weekend against Castlebar.
10 minutes into the second half, as Martin said, Westport tipping along without setting the world on fire, 6 points in front against a very disappointing Balla effort so far, especially when it comes to putting scores on the board. Perhaps now Cooper Callahan could put that right. He's had a very mixed day, to say the least, in terms of his shooting, and there's another wide, and you start to wonder at what stage do you take Cuba, for his own sake, Martin, off the freeze and maybe let somebody else have a go.
Well, I think that's the 5th wide they've had, but I think he's had 3 of them from frees, and every one of them are kickable. And there was another free that he had in there that he didn't take on the responsibility, he gave it short. So he's clearly a player short in confidence at the moment, playing centre half forward, under the cosh maybe with Rory Brickington, and it's been a disappointing kind of game from him so far. Disappointing performance, I should say.
Well, Fionn McDonough very nearly executed a textbook catch there, but just a fraction off, and Ballaghaderreen drive it into the corner. Andy Moran races out in front of Niall McManaman. Making his way across is Adam Phillips. 1 or 2 other players up in support as well. Andy Moran just loses his footing. Ball runs free, and Pat Lambert was the first man on the scene to profit. And another Ballaghaderreen attack ends before it had even got going. Pat Lambert gives and goes again. Players racing forward to try and join the attack for Westport, but the ball long to Kevin Kane is too long, won by Owen Jordan. Now Seamus Kniff. Gavin Conway has left his goal, and Gavin Conway needed to be on his toes there with Killian Kilkelly loitering with intent as Donal Forrest plays it up the line towards Doohan. He and Keegan quite literally hanging out of each other. Now Owen Jordan races on to the loose ball. Doohan again. Thought about the pass inside, but everyone was covered. Instead, he waits for the run of Patrick Callaghan. Much better from Balla in terms of the build-up, and Patrick Callaghan on the run shoots over Ballaghaderreen's 4th point of the game.
12 minutes, two points they've got in the 12 minutes, and oddly enough Westport haven't scored at all, even though territorially they have been on top. But they'll be very disappointed with their with their return from the second half. No score. Here we have another possibility of a score for Ballaghaderreen.
Andy Moran, the right man in the right place, and Darragh Kelly with the finish. Well, we said earlier he only needed one chance, Andy Moran, and when he made that break, he had the presence of mind to play it across the face of goal, and in came Darragh Kelly, and now game on.
A 2-point game, 9 points to 1-4, totally outplayed in every sector of their field, and all of a sudden, due to the fact that Westport weren't taking the chances they've created, Ballaghaderreen make the most of theirs, score 1-2 since half time, and basically they're only a 2-point game.
Well, Westport making life very, very difficult for themselves, a lot harder than it should be, really. They were 6 points up not that long ago. It's been shaved back to a 2-point lead, and that goal was really typical Balla in so many ways. The way they switched on as soon as the turnover was executed, and Andy Moran sucked out the cover, and Darragh Kelly did the rest. So 9 points to Westport, 1-4 to Ballaghaderreen as we head towards the water break midway through this second half. Another mistake by Westport. Fionn McDonough, you'd imagine now they're more than a little rattled, the home side, as Cuba Callaghan comes driving down this left wing. Balla all of a sudden look re-energised by that goal. Andy Moran, foul by Niall McManaman. How quickly things have changed.
Clever play by Andy Moran, and again great run forward by Cuba Callaghan. But Ballaghaderreen have got great confidence from that goal. But when you think about it, they've held Westport scoreless since the 31st minute. Westport have gone, 14-15 minutes without scoring, and again Ballaghaderreen are right back in this. We're back to 1 point if Andy can pop this over the bar.
Well, about an hour before the game, Andy Moran was standing in around about this spot, kicking point after point, just getting his eye in. It's the sort of angle and the sort of range that he's been kicking points for fun from throughout his career. Now, can he do it when the pressure's on? Of course he can.
Of course he
right
can.
Over the black spot.
Right over the black spot indeed. And again, this has to raise doubts for Westport, you know, for all the quality they have, for all the beautiful football touches that they have. They're not making a count whatsoever in the scoreboard. And Ballaghaderreen fully deserve to be right back in this game. We're simply staying in the contest and continuing to believe, even when things were going badly against them.
And I just spotted Andy Moran there, the fire still in the belly. He just had a quick word with Niall McManaman after slotting that free over the bar. Now this feels much more like a senior championship game, Martin, doesn't it?
Oh, very much so. But again, like the thing about it is the midfield, shall we say, dominance that Westport enjoyed in the first half with Fionn McDonough and Shane Scott has been somewhat compromised by Shahrose Akram and Ryan Lynch. And I thought the first score at the beginning of the second half, that Ryan Lynch set the marker for Ballaghaderreen, even though they took 7 or 8 minutes more before they got their second. But that goal has actually put everything back in the melting pot.
So Westport haven't scored in this second half. Ballaghaderreen have hit 1-3 up at the other end. This free from Alan Kennedy is badly needed, and it's gone across the face of goal and out for a 7th Westport wide. Another missed chance, and now the nerves are really starting to jangle. There is the whistle to signal the water break. Badly needed for Westport, and it, in some ways, Martin, couldn't have come at a worse time for Ballaghaderreen.
It couldn't have come at a worse time for Ballaghadereen. Like, Westport haven't scored in 16 minutes football. Ballaghadereen have got, 1 goal and 3 points without reply. The momentum was with them. They were starting to get confidence in themselves. That's the last thing they needed now, was that break. And Westport, I'd say, there'll be harsh words spoken over in that dressing room right now.
We're just looking at the Ballaghadereen huddle now. David Drake there in the centre of your picture. Completely different energy now off the group.
Well, very much so. I mean, they all of a sudden are starting to believe in themselves. They've started to get confidence from those scores. And they've also been encouraged by the fact that Westport have shown nothing in the second half, nothing of the enterprise that we saw, you know, commonplace with their display in the first half. And again, just, you know, I was kind of lauding that lovely imagination and that great rhythm that they brought to the game in the first 10 minutes or so, that Westport brought to the game in the first 10 minutes. But since Ballaghadereen kind of continued to make a scrap of it, and since they continued to kind of keep their belief strong. They've managed to kind of find their way back into it, and now it's just a 1-point game.
You may have noticed there as well, just on the edge of the Ballaghaderreen huddle a moment ago, David McBride and Cian Hanley both on crutches. David Drake limping as well. He has an ankle injury. How Balla would love to have them out there at this moment in time. What energy and pace and power they would bring to the lineup. But credit where it's due, their replacements, as it were, have made a decent fist of it. Finally, in the last 5 or 10 minutes, they finally got the show on the road. And this game now hanging in the balance with around 13 minutes to go. Kick out from Gavin Conway right down on top of Mark Moran, who just at the most crucial of times has won a crucial piece of possession. And Shane Scott will take it from here. Runs being made inside. Kevin Kane to Fionn McDonough. This is where Westport are so dangerous. It's so simple and it's so effective. And Fionn McDonough has now hit 3 points from play.
Yeah, and again, very, very simple. A lovely little one to him. Fionn McDonough getting onto his weak right foot, just nonchalantly put it over the bar. But that's a score that Westport badly needed to kind of restore their confidence. And again, just to set them up for this last 15 minutes or so.
That is Westport's first score of the second half. It comes in the 18th minute. And it just relieves a little bit of tension that you can feel all around the ground here at St. Patrick's Park among the home supporters as Shiroz Akram breaks through at the other end. And he just delayed the shot and he was smothered, and it's gone out for a 45. But for a moment there was a real goal chance.
There was a real goal chance there, Mike. That was a great bit of defending actually by number 4, Brian McDermott. He managed to kind of cut down the space in Shiroz Akram, but Shiroz will be disappointed with that he didn't make more of that opportunity. That was a great goaling opportunity. Spurned.
Well, they're starting to look that little bit more menacing now, Balla, when they do break at pace. It's taken them a long time to get their second wind. Yeah, and Andy Moran has come out to have a look at this 45. I think he is he feels it's time to step up and take over. And it's a 2-point game as he stands over this. For the sake of argument, it's dead straight in front of the goal. Ballaghaderreen need this, and Andy delivers. He's hit 2 points now in this second half. He's hit 3 in all. And it's back to a 1-point game.
Fabulous leadership by Andy Moran there, taking responsibility for that. We kind of expected maybe, I thought maybe they, like say, Cuba Callahan might have taken it, but no, Andy said it's my ball, I'm confident, and he nailed it.
I'm just looking, Martin, the matchup we've waited all day for. Andy Moran and Lee Keegan. It's finally come to pass as Oisin McLaughlin comes in to replace Keelan Dever. But Keegan and Moran, 2 former footballers of the year, marking each other.
Yes, fabulous. A lot of counties would just dream to see that matchup.
Well, here is Keegan. He's had a quiet game by his own high standards. Picked up a few bangs, knocks and niggles in the All-Ireland final. And why wouldn't he? Ran himself into the ground against Tyrone. But Westport now just need him to get on the ball a little bit more and steady things down. They're a point in front, and it's going to be a very nervy, dramatic next 10 minutes, you'd feel. Here's Oisin McLaughlin, fresh in off the bench, to Mark Moran. 1-2, sees the ball return to Mark Moran again, makes a beeline for the Ballaghaderreen goal. That looked like a foul. No free given. Kevin Kane will try and barge his way forward. He's swallowed up. And I don't know about you, Martin, but Westport surely deserved 1 free there.
Well, I thought Mark Moran that time was fouled actually going through Kevin Kane. Then I thought was kind of, shall we say, well and truly kind of fouled. But no, Jerome Henry saw it differently, and Ballaghaderreen will take a lot of confidence from that.
Here's Ryan Lynch. It's a different Ballaghaderreen now since that Dara Kelly goal. Lynch taking on everyone and anyone. He just barrows his way through Luke Tunney. Doohan feeds it inside as far as Thomas Carmody. Players streaming forward in Ballaghaderreen jerseys. Carmody takes on an outrageous shot, and Thomas Carmody has landed an outrageous equaliser. It's his 3rd point of the game. Well, he really had no right to shoot from there, the Ballaghaderreen corner forward, but he took on the shot, he backed himself, and he left it sitting on the roof of the net. The sides are level for the first time with 8 minutes to go.
Well, if we were going to the nearest bookie shop at half-time, we certainly wouldn't have anticipated this. 9-2 up at half-time, strolling. Westport looked home and hose. But my God, since they started the second half, all they've scored is 1 point, and it's been all Ballaghaderreen.
So Ballaghaderreen have outscored the home side in this second half 1-5 to a point. It has been a complete transformation. It's taken them so long to get going, but now they look like a completely different team. It's Akram driving through, runs into 3 Westport men, and it breaks kindly for Niall McManaman, and Keegan will complete the clean-up job, and he will now know more than anybody. He's going to have to drive things on from here. Lovely ball to Pat Lambert, Killian Kilkelly. They're trying to get the runners on the ball. One of them is Brian McDermott, driving up that left-hand side to Mark Moore, and Fionn McDonough is screaming for it in the middle. Instead, the ball is put into the hands of Oisin McLaughlin and kicked high and over the bar. In fact, it's Colm Moran, who's just come in off the bench. Colm Moran, another of the Westport substitutes, who's been thrown in to try and make something happen, and his first touch sees him swing over a terrific point to put Westport back in front.
Fabulous bit of play, but who started it? Lee Keegan. Beautifully weighted pass to Killian Kilkelly. Ball on to Moran. Colm Moran eventually, or on to Lambert, should I say. Colm Moran eventually got on the end of it and again shot a great point. But Keegan's ball, I think, that opened up the play there was just gorgeous.
So Jerome Henry is just having a quick word with Donal Forrest and Colm Moran. How's this? They describe it. There was a coming together after Moran kicked the point, and yellows all round. Moran on, by the way, to replace Alan Kennedy. That switch literally just happened moments ago, and Colm Moran delivers a huge point at a crucial time.
Yeah, and Alan Kennedy, who was so influential in the first half, I think he ended up with 4 points in that. Very quiet since, but not surprised really that he was replaced.
Oisin McLaughlin looking for Colm Moran in over the top, but as soon as the ball hit the wet surface here, it skids out over the end line and away and wide. Clock is telling us that there are 6 minutes or thereabouts to go, and of course we had that stoppage for the water break as well. So there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, about 7 or 8 minutes or so to go, I'd say, Mike. And again, it's anybody's game. We just see if Ballaghaderreen could get the ball forward. They have the wherewithal to open up the Westport defence. And Shiroz Akrim has got forward twice, actually. And in neither case did he actually get a good outcome of it. But the fact that he opened up their defence should give Ballaghaderreen encouragement.
Cormac Doohan feeling the heat from Fionn McDonough, who's snapping away at his heels there. Ballaghaderreen managed to retain possession. Way inside in the Balla full forward line, Andy Moran is making run after run. Lee Keegan is making those runs with him, so he's well covered off at the moment as Ballaghaderreen try to work it through the lines. Owen Jordan bounces off Kevin Kane there, used him almost as a wall. Jordan has gone down now on one knee though. I think he felt the pinch there after he played the pass. Luke O'Grady's shot is blocked, but the referee had his hand in the air for an advantage. It will be a free in to Ballaghaderreen, and credit where it's due. Owen Jordan there put his body on the line, and it's paid off.
It did indeed. I think it was Luke O'Grady also got forward that time, and again some good play by Ballaghaderreen. But they've gained so much confidence actually from that goal. You know, players who had been dormant and been very, very quiet in the first half have come to the fore in the second half. Like we had lauded, and I've said this already, Fionn McDonough and Shane Scott for their dominant display earlier. But Shiroz Akrim and Ryan Lynch have got on the ball way more often in the second half and got given a little bit more, shall we say, consistent supply to the Ballaghaderreen forward line, and they're making use of it.
So all eyes on Andy Moran then to kick this free. He's taken over the free-taking duties from Cuba Callahan, and he is conducting them with aplomb. 4 points for Andy Moran, who also set up the goal for Dara Kelly that turned this whole thing around, and the sides are level again.
Yeah, Westport now need to get a grip around the middle of the field. From McDonough and Shane Scott, they need to start getting possession again the way they did earlier.
Paddy O'Malley goes long, Ryan Lynch alive to it, but he just was backpedaling and he couldn't keep that ball under control, and Killian Kilkelly is on to the break in a flash. There's a handful of Balla men around him. There has to be space, and there is for Pat Lambert, and Westport back in front within seconds. And again, it's the long kick out from Paddy O'Malley that is putting Westport within shooting distance of the Ballaghaderreen goal, and that time it all worked out.
It all worked out, but such enterprising play from Kilkelly. He was well bottled up, but the vision, the ability to see the pass on that time, to give it to Lambert. Very, very deserved score.
Oisin McLaughlin just picked up a bang to the face there as he played that pass. Lambert Kane, goal chance, blocked by Jordan, and it's gone up and over the bar. Well, as he wound up there, Kevin Kane, you were almost expecting the back of the net to bulge. Instead, he's denied a goal. He takes a point. It's his second, but that all came from Oisin McLaughlin's awareness to win the break, and the Westport substitutes they've brought in, Martin, particularly Colm Moran and Oisin McLaughlin, they're making a big impact.
Very much so. They've been very influential since they've come in, and they've given a lot more energy, much more movement to the forward line. And on top of that, I've been impressed with Killian Kilkelly. Anytime he's got the ball, he's imaginative. He sees players in better positions than him, and he's set up a few very good scores.
Mark Moran with a careless sideline ball, and he's given it right to Cuba Callahan. Ballaghaderreen playing against the wind, and they're 2 points down, and now the clock is against them as well, but they've won a free. Callahan's hard work rewarded. Now what can they work from here? Westport have hit those couple of points so quickly to open up some daylight again.
Yeah, they've kicked them, and then they've been compromised by careless play. Like that turnover there, Mike, was so unnecessary, and you know, they were under no great pressure that time, but just a carelessly, shall we say, ball given away from a free kick shouldn't happen in situations like this.
Andy Moran standing over the free. Decoy runs and dummy runs being made close to him, but you just know he's going to go long. He may even go for the score. It hits to the back post, kept in by Adam Phillips, looking for support. It comes from Luke O'Grady, the other wing back. Loves contact, loves to drive hard at opposition defenders. Ball recycled back outside to Owen Jordan. Shane Scott there just hung out of him initially, no free. Jordan knocks up a Gary Owen in towards the full forward line. Caught by Rory Brickenden. Great take in the air by the Westport centre back. That's Killian Kilkelly, and that's a foul and a free out, and this will eat into the clock, and this will not help Ballagh's cause.
Yeah, great play by Brickenden that time, winning that high ball. Okay, it was a speculative ball put in by Ballaghaderreen. Good pressure from the Westport defenders to actually kind of force that kick, but again picked up by Kilkelly, working very hard. I've lauded him for his inside play early on, won that ball, and again earned the free out for Westport, and they'll just slow things down, eat into the clock as much as they possibly can. We're just in the last minute, I'd say, or maybe we have about 3 minutes left overall when one adds in the water break.
So hard-won, hard-earned possession back in Westport hands again. Keegan to McDermott, and now Niall McManaman. Now it's Westport's turn to keep ball and play it around and try and frustrate Ballagh and draw them out again. McDonough to Scott. Westport 2 points in front. 4 points they've scored in this second half, and they're right now have Ballagh just where they want them as Oisin McLaughlin cuts in. He's got great pace. McLaughlin able to pop it back to Killian Kilkelly. Hasn't scored. He has now. All six, or I beg your pardon, 5 of Westport's 6 forwards have now scored. Mark Moran is actually the odd man out, but that's Killian Kilkelly's first of the day, and it couldn't have come at a better time for them.
Oh, it couldn't have come at a better time, and Frank's an excellent performance from him in every sector of the field, defending, linking, and again showing great awareness, and just getting that score certainly makes it, you know, it's the full Monty, so to speak.
It certainly is the full Monty, and it means that Westport have hit 3 points in a row, and they're now edging closer and closer to what would be a morale-boosting first-round win in this Group 3 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship. That was Kevin Kane who nipped in with a crucial interception to break up that Ballaghaderreen attack, but poor ball through towards Mark Moran, and Ballagh have got it back again. We're heading now into clock in the red time, and Ballagh will feel a goal is required, surely. Donal Forrest up from corner back. Support left and right. He goes for Andy Moran, trying to lose Lee Keegan. Keegan knows most of Andy's tricks, and vice versa. Andy throws the ball back between his legs, He was digging deeper and deeper into the box of tricks there, and eventually he just ran out of them. And Lee Keegan, I think, gives himself a little smile. Job well done.
Hey, job well done. Not in any great rush to take the free kick. That's great defending. Lovely bit of 1 versus 1 kind of attack in the defending situation. But Keegan came out and topped that time. But what will kind of puzzle Westport in many ways at the end of all of this is how they could be so superior early on and play such good football, and then all of a sudden just fall asleep completely for most of the second half.
They've been outscored, Westport, in this second half, up to now at least 1-6 to 5 points, but they're not finished yet. Oisín McLaughlin pops it through to Kevin Kane, to Mark Moran, and that is that. Mark Moran has surely sealed a win for Westport. Hadn't scored in the game until he ran onto that very selfless pass from Kevin Kane, but that was Westport at their best. Pace, power and precision, and they're 6 points up and home and hosed. 6 points up and home and hosed, and you've got to compliment them actually. Okay, Westport or Ballaghaderreen levelled it after 26 minutes, but since then the response from Westport has been, or Ballaghaderreen levelled it I should say after 26 minutes, but since then the response from Westport has been excellent. They've scored a goal and 3 points, every one of them as a result of good forward play. Well, a double substitution here from Westport. They're bringing in number 19 Conor Calvey and number 21 Brian O'Malley. Players who have been taken out are Fionn McDonough and Pat Lambert, I think. They're the players who have been replaced. But again, it was Oisín McLaughlin's pace that broke the Balla cover. And once they got in behind that first wall, as it were, well, it was panic stations, really. And Kane very unselfishly left it to Mark Moran to finish. Here's his brother Colm, and a first touch for Brian O'Malley. Clock now is very much in the red. Ball looking for...
That's a lovely score.
Colm Moran finds Kevin Kane.
Kevin Kane, yeah.
Beautifully done. 3 points from play from the man who once upon a time played full-back for Mayo. And now he is the spearhead of the Westport attack, and off left and right he can kick a score. Yeah, I remember him in the 2012 All-Ireland final. Michael Murphy, I think it was. Maybe he got a few little things from Michael Murphy to put into his box of tricks. But today he has been unselfish, he's been accurate, and he's been a good focal point for a lot of what is the best of the Westport display. Well, of course, these first round games now winding to a conclusion all around the county, but in Group 3 of the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship, this win for Westport will set them up nicely for their visit to Castlebar Mitchells, who also got off to a winning start yesterday against Ball. So it will be a top of the table clash in Group 3 next Saturday at 4 o'clock, while the meeting of Ballaghaderreen and Ball will be all about trying to get points on the board and get away from the relegation playoffs and stay in the mix for the quarter-finals. They are 2 huge games in round 2 next Saturday. 2 big games, Mike, and both teams will know in their game, like the Westport today against Ballaghaderreen and yesterday Castlebar's game against Ball, that both Westport and Castlebar can play better than actually than we saw. Certainly, there's aspects of this game today of Ballaghadereen's or of Westport's display need to be looked at very, very carefully. They cannot afford to have those dormant periods that they showed certainly in the third quarter. Was something as well that popped up here last weekend in that league match we covered between Westport and Brafey. They do switch off at times, but when they switch on, they are brilliant to watch. And Colm Moran just underlines that point. 2 points for Colm Moran since he came in off the bench. He's played, of course, minor, under 20 and senior for Mayo, and he's a really good inside forward. And Colm Moran has the final say in this game at St Patrick's Park in Westport. Richly deserved round of applause for both teams who put in a huge effort. Certainly in the third quarter, this game didn't have a whole lot of pep in its step, but once Dara Kelly scored the goal, it came to life and we were treated to a wonderful last 15-20 minutes. And the game ends in a pretty comprehensive victory for Westport. 116 to a goal and 8. Martin, we'll give you the last word if you want to summarise what we've seen today.
Well, I tell you, it was such a disappointing game. One-sided in the first half, with Westport leading, I think, 9-2 at half-time. A very nondescript third quarter, actually, where it was all Ballaghaderreen that kind of came within a point of Westport. But then in the last quarter, shall we say, Westport were threatened and Ballaghaderreen kind of drew a level after 26 minutes. Westport then showed their true colours, and I thought their ending, I think they got a goal and 5 points without reply, and some of those scores were as a consequence of very, very good approach play and very accurate finishing, and a fully deserved win for Westport. But they will certainly kind of have questions to answer of themselves as to why they went to sleep for such lengthy periods of that game.
Well, as Martin mentioned, they're 1-5 without reply from Westport down the home stretch. They finish like a train. Colm Moran with 2 points, Pat Lambert, Killian Kilkelly and Kevin Kane as well, and Mark Moran with that simple tap-in goal to leave it at the end of a very entertaining round 1 Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship game. Westport 116, Ballaghaderreen 1-8. We'll be back next weekend with round 2 action from the Connacht Gold Mayo Senior Club Football Championship.
This butter is only half fat, but it tastes lovely. Like real butter, and it spreads.
It's because it is real butter, Dad, just with half the fat.
Connacht Gold half-fat butter. Make it real.